camera turns on, revealing a dimly lit garage with tools scattered everywhere. The host, wearing an old trucker hat and a grease-stained shirt, leans against a workbench with a half-drunk cup of gas station coffee nearby. Well, 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 would you look at that? It finally happened, folks. Chevy's gone and done it. The mad scientists in Detroit finally threw all their marbles at the wall and stuck them together with a roll of duct tape and a dream. What we got here, ladies and gentlemen, is the 2026 Chevrolet Zora, a twin-turbo, hybrid, fire-breathing, tire-smoking spaceship on 4 wheels, and quite possibly the fastest Corvette ever made. Now, before we start slapping hands and high-fiving the Chevy gods, let's just appreciate the fact that it took them 70-some years to finally build a Corvette like old Zora Arcus Duntoff always wanted. Mid-engine? Check. Twin-turbo? You betcha. All-wheel drive? Yep. And if that ain't enough, it's got a battery pack that'll give it the kind of boost that makes bald eagles cry. So what's under the deck lid of this 4-wheeled freedom fighter? Well, at the heart of it, we got the same 5.5-liter flat-plane crank V8 from the 06. But now, it's got a couple of turbochargers bolted on like some sorta over-caffeinated science experiment. That's good for somewhere north of 800 horsepowers. But wait, there's more. Chevy went ahead and threw in a front-mounted electric motor, so now you got an extra 160 ponies yanking the front tires. That's right, folks. This ain't just a Corvette anymore. This is a full-blown hybrid hypercar with more power than a Saturn V rocket on takeoff. Now, if you're keeping track, that means we got something like 1,000 horsepower on tap, giving this thing the kind of acceleration that'll rearrange your internal organs and make you see into the future. 0 to 60? Probably in the low 2s. Quarter mile? Somewhere in the 9s. Top speed? Who cares? If you're going that fast, you're either on a track or about to lose your license. But here's the kicker. This ain't just some straight-line drag-strip one-trick pony. No, sir. Thanks to that fancy all-wheel drive system, this thing grips the pavement like a cat on a screen door. You can chuck it into a corner at speeds that'd make lesser cars start saying their prayers. And it'll just hunker down and go. Chevy went all out with the suspension too. Active dampers, fancy aerodynamics, and enough carbon fiber to make NASA jealous. Inside, well, it's about what you'd expect. Lots of buttons, big screens, and a steering wheel that's only half a steering wheel 'cause race car, I guess. But let's be honest, you ain't buying this thing for the interior. You're buying it 'cause you wanna go stupid fast, make noises that scare pedestrians, and do it all while looking like you just stole the Batmobile. Now, all this performance ain't exactly gonna come cheap. Word on the street is Chevy's gonna ask somewhere north of 200 grand for one of these bad boys, which means most of us are gonna have to sell a kidney or start digging for gold in the backyard if we ever wanna get our hands on one. But hey, that's the price you pay for what might just be the wildest, fastest, and most ridiculous Corvette ever built. But here's the real question. Does it still have that Corvette soul? You know, that thing that makes a vet? Can you still take it to the drag strip on a Friday night, gap a Mustang, and then drive it home with the AC on full blast? Or is this thing too fancy? Too complicated? Too un-Corvette-like? Well, I ain't got my hands on one just yet, but from where I'm standing, this still looks like a Corvette to me. Sure, it's got turbos, batteries, and a bunch of fancy gizmos, but at the end of the day, it's still a good old American hammer that'll smoke just about anything this side of $1 million hypercar. And if that ain't the Corvette way, I don't know what is. Alright, that's enough jawing. If you need me, I'll be over here trying to figure out how to convince the bank that this is a totally reasonable business expense. Stay greasy, folks.